One woman's love of good coffee, diversity, and bringing people together has turned into a booming nonprofit business in Clarkston, Georgia, which happens to be a United Nations refugee destination city. The Refuge Coffee Company serves delicious coffee and specialty drinks to customers while employing a refugee work staff. The company's employees are provided with valuable job and life training skills. In return, they teach the customers about the different cultural backgrounds that make up this unique and vibrant staff. Joining me is Refuge Coffee Company founder and CEO, Kitty Murray, and one of her employees, Sumaya Mascoudi, who is originally from Afghanistan. Welcome, ladies, and thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So Kitty, you bought a truck a few years ago, and you started serving coffee. What gave you the idea to buy this truck and then hire only refugees, which I believe is what you do, and then also turn this truck into a nonprofit?
Well, to start with, my husband and I live just 3 blocks down the road here in Clarkston. So we're in the community, and we haven't been here that long. So we bought the truck 4 years ago, and a minor correction, I didn't buy it. Because we're a nonprofit, we raised money to buy it.
How did you raise money?
Well, my first idea was to invite a bunch of friends over, and my husband and I would serve them dinner and tell them about this great idea and ask them to fund it. Our own kids said to us, you know, this idea isn't really fully formed enough yet. You're not ready to ask for money. So we invited some just smart business people over who cared about the community and asked for their wisdom, but they're the ones who said, you know, it's just a better business decision to start smaller and start with a coffee truck. So we raised money eventually.
What brought you to Clarkston, Georgia in the first place, you and your husband?
We were living in the city. We were ready to buy our last house. You know, we didn't have any illusions that we were going to swoop in and like be superheroes or anything like that. But we just wanted to live somewhere where our whole neighborhood didn't look just like us, you know, and where we could interact with the community. And so we have friends who bought a real estate development here and had some houses. And we bought one of their houses and just moved in.
So you were aware when you moved to Clarkston, you were under no surprise that this was a very diverse immigrant city or town.
Yeah. We had actually volunteered with one of the resettlement agencies, you know, to help get a family acclimated a few years before. And so we had a few relationships here. And the thing we discovered is Atlanta is like most big cities, it's just a pain to get around in. And so we wanted to invest in this family's life, but we had to fight traffic to do it and change our patterns. And so to live here made it easier.
I understand there's 13,000 people who live there. Do you know what percentage is refugees? What percentage are American citizens?
I know that more than half are foreign born. And of those, I would say a good majority are either resettled refugees or immigrants who've come from all over the world. 65 languages here, I think, spoken.
And these are people in a community that is diversified. It's not segmented, that this is where this group lives, this is where this group lives. This is a culturally mixed, ethnically mixed community that talks and deals with each other on a regular basis.
Yes, it is a melting pot of every kind, I think. Yeah. It's atypical in the number of languages and ethnicities that are here. I think Atlanta does have a more racially diverse community that is slowly becoming more integrated with each other in every way. But in terms of people from other countries, yeah, this is super unique. That's the beauty of the community. You know, there's so many different places and you can learn about cultures. And then it's also a community of survivors, people who've been through a lot, everybody. To me, it's a community of heroes and normal humans, but who also have been through something that kind of gives them a heroic approach to life.
You already told us you bought this coffee truck and you decided to start smaller, then open up a brick and mortar. And you wanted this place to be like an international Starbucks. Do people sit outside of your coffee truck? Do they congregate outside of your coffee truck?
Yes, people gather here. Our whole thing was, we didn't want it to be, where white hipsters hung out to get good coffee and that was it, but it was just in a unique environment. We wanted it to draw the entire community, and that's a challenge because we wanted there to be like that cross hatch of cultures and people, including garden variety Americans. When we started, we had one truck and we rented the front half of a parking lot, and there was an old gas station, really old gas station. If I can show you, we're inside it right now. And we parked the truck up there 2 days a week. We painted a sunflower on the asphalt to be the patio. We set up tables and chairs and tents. And we were so desperate. There were several of us. We would grab people off the street and say, hey, can we buy you coffee? And so over time, it became kind of a fun gathering place. We're not here to promote any political agenda, any religious agenda, any of that. We just started gathering people, and we would do events and draw people. And then eventually we were able to buy another truck, and then we were able to buy the old gas station. So, we just kind of slowly taken over this little corner, and it's right in the center of Clarkston. I just think it's a place for people to find out who those people are and who our neighbors are, like Samaya.
You're a self-professed, I guess, soccer mom before you got into this, I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Other than making coffee for the other soccer moms, how'd you learn all about coffee that you can go and say, okay, I'm going to now serve coffee and we're going to become experts in coffee?
If most founders are honest, what they would tell you is that they are good at finding people. So I still don't know very much. I really don't. I know a little about telling a good story. I know a little about gathering people, but what I do know is kind of networking and finding people who want the same things. And so, they're coffee snobs and then they're kind of coffee geeks. And I'm a coffee snob. I like it. I want it to be good. I know what I like and don't like, but I'm still not very good at it. Samaya knows. I'll get on the truck sometimes and I just kind of get in their way. So what we did was I cashed in on free 1-hour consultations with everybody I could think of. Attorneys, business people, restaurant owners, and then coffee people. So I eventually found a guy who owns a couple of coffee shops who agreed to consult with me. And then he introduced me to a guy named Caleb Goodrum, who became our full-time support staff member. And we raised enough money to pay him so he could make sure we did coffee really well.
So, Samaya, you've been working in this coffee truck for how long now?
Been almost for 1 year.
What do you do on the coffee truck? Tell me what your job is there.
I do make coffee there. We have catering that we go outside and we serve people outside. Also, we have a lot of movie sets. There is customer service. There is, you have to make the coffee. You have to make sure also that you have everything.
Now, you're originally from Afghanistan, right?
Right.
And so tell me how you got from Afghanistan to Clarkston, Georgia.
I actually was born in Iran. My family actually also grew up in Iran. So I never kind of lived in Afghanistan. I went back to Afghanistan when I was 10 years old with my family. And then we stayed there for 2.5 months. I got here in 2016.
And you came with your family or you came alone?
Oh, with my family.
Uh-huh.
So in Iran, my grandparents, they flew to Iran 50 years ago. And my other 3 sisters, we were born in Iran. So I was there until 18 years old. So we were all as a refugee the whole life. It didn't really matter if I was born there also. So for 18 years, I was a refugee. My family, they were refugee for about more than 35 years. So we kind of wanted to move in a country that we can have basic human rights and not be a refugee anymore. We had to go to a country that we can say that we need a citizen, so they can send our cases, our problems to the countries like America, that they accept refugee. So the closest country to us was registered by United Nations, UNHCR. We kind of said that what our problem was, why we moved, and why we want to go to other country. And then what United Nations is doing, they send these cases to America, and then one of these countries will accept us, which in 2016, America accepted us and we got here.
How long did you wait between going to the United Nations Refugee Center to apply for to become a refugee at, I guess, at multiple Western westernized countries to actually being accepted by the United States and moving to America?
Right. So we stayed totally 4 years and 3 months in Turkey, but it was about after 3 years that they called us that America accepted us.
What was life like in Iran versus Turkey versus Clarkston, Georgia?
In Iran, it was like the place that we grew up. It was good, everything. There are really nice people, but maybe in other countries it's also same. Maybe you cannot have a lot of rights. But in Turkey also, it was really hard, kind of, because we had to wait the whole life. Every minute we had to wait for a call from UN that says this country accepted you, you will go. You didn't know that what will happen, and I couldn't study.
Basically, in Iran, what you're saying is that you were very restricted in being able to move around. And certainly
Right.
they also, it sounds like, restrict any ability to upwardly move up the economic ranks.
When I first talked to Samaya about her story, I think when I hear, well, you can't be a citizen, I don't think about what that means. But in other countries, not being a citizen means a lot of other knots, and a lot of other restrictions.
Sumaya came in and applied for a job. How do you find refugees to come work on your food truck?
We have a process, but usually what happens is it's word of mouth, because this community, 13,000 people are in 1.4 square miles. So it's a pretty densely populated city, and there are 5 resettlement agencies that work here, and then a lot of other nonprofits who do great work, and we know a lot of those people. And so we'll just kind of put the word out and say, we need somebody. When we first started, it was all word of mouth, just people we knew in the community. And now we actually get applications, and we have a little more of a process.
Do you have to be a refugee?
You have to be an immigrant,
You have to be an
because
immigrant.
some people are here through other immigration processes.
Are you looking for people who have qualified skills?
If we were to boil down what we do into one phrase, it would be that we're in the business of welcome. So everything we do, we kind of run through a sieve of, does that say welcome to the rest of the world? If we do this event, or if we say this on social media, are we saying welcome? And so when we hire our trainees, we tell them right away, that's what we're doing. We're welcoming people, and we are welcoming you, yes, but you're a part of the business of welcome. And so in one of their first training sessions, I always give them a welcome mat, and just say, here, this is your job. It's a full-time living wage, 1-year job. So that's 35, 40 hours a week. But of that 40 hours, 2 to 3 are spent in a classroom with our job trainer. And that classroom time is really valuable, and it's really a great part of it. So it's on the job training, but it's also that classroom time. And the classroom time has some English training, although we outsource some of that depending on trainees' needs. We've had people who speak barely a word of English when they start, and people who are so curious and such fast learners. But we do a lot of preparation for the citizenship test, even though, you have to wait some time before you can take that. We have even just kind of a life plan sessions to learn how to plan for dreams, because most refugees don't have the luxury of dreaming about the future. And that's been a really fun part of the process, to say, no, you live in a place now where you can dream about your future. You can be whatever you put your mind to be, but we're going to open doors as much as we can, and kind of, give you whatever we've got to encourage you in the process.
Now, how many people do you employ?
We have a staff of 14, 7 trainees. Then the 7 support staff, 4 of us are full-time. I'm one of those. 2 of those full-time employees are refugees who were former trainees.
Tell me about some of these people who started off as training. Is Sumaya, you're a manager?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet. So Leon Shambana is from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He was our very first trainee, so he always calls himself the firstborn of Refuge. He is like a stern father who's also super loving and fun. He started with us. He's amazing. And so about the time his 1 year was up was when we moved into this space, and we were going to be open more, and we just needed someone to manage it. And he was the perfect fit. Our other person on our support staff is Ahmed Al-Zukaini. Ahmed is from Syria, from Damascus. He was a pharmacist in Syria. When he came, he had only been here a few weeks, and he could barely speak English. He's increased our catering business in the last 6 months by 50%. So he has really grown our business. So those are the only 2 that we've ended up hiring full-time. We've only been doing this 3.5 years. And our hope is, we'd love to keep everybody. I don't want Samaya to go away. But we also want them to fulfill whatever their dreams are. So Samaya will be starting college this year, and she actually, I think she would make a great lawyer. But anyway, so she's looking into ways to kind of give back to her home country. So everybody has a different path. It's definitely not a cookie cutter training.
So Samaya, how has working at the Refuge Coffee Company shaped your ability to go to college, want to go to college?
So going to the college, yeah, it was something that I always wanted for sure, but why I wanted to go, what I was going to study. And then after I graduated, I found out the answers for all of these questions. For sure. Refuge helped me create my dreams, helped me find my goals, helped me to reach out to them. It's doing a lot. I mean, I really appreciate it. It's so great.
Now, Samaya, you talk about your dreams, and I understand from reading a little bit about your background that when you came to the United States in 2016, you had no dream. And now, after working at the Refuge Coffee Company, you do have dreams. Tell me what your dreams are, your American dreams for the future.
So the dream is, to help the women of my country to get their freedom and rights. So what happened is I saw a lot of people, a lot of Afghan women that they came from Afghanistan, but they're living here, but they don't have a lot of freedom. They don't have rights. At their home, they cannot, talk to everyone, to whoever they want. They cannot go out whenever they want. So my dream is kind of to teach the men of Afghanistan to learn about it, that the women are also human. They have to have the rights too.
The rights of women in Iran or the rights of women in Afghanistan, or are they kind of like nobody has rights in either country?
In Iran it's better, but I'm talking about Afghanistan for sure.
Now, Kitty, you have this truck. You certainly have given an opportunity to refugees and given them an opportunity that they otherwise may never have had. Have you seen people come together?
Yes. We always say we don't do what we do for the refugee community. We do it with the refugee community. Samaya has already brought so much value to our community, and she's such a good role model for a lot of young women here. She's the oldest in her family that's here, and so she was the provider at the beginning. National rhetoric today is pretty polarized, but what we experience here is the opposite of polarization. What I love is people learning about other people. And one thing we started to observe early on is that when trainees left us, that they didn't just leave with whatever training we were able to give them, but what they leave with is this network of friends. And friends from other refugee friends from other countries, and then American friends. So that has been a really neat thing. And not only are they equally human and valuable, they have so much to offer. And, their eyes are opened, and it moves the needle, that ability to see other people not as other anymore.
You see that in even in our politics today, even people who are anti-immigrant say, kick all the immigrants out, except this person who I know, who I work with. There's my friend, he's lovely. But everybody else who I don't know any of them, get them out. Which is why I think you're doing a wonderful job. You expose people to people of other cultures, they get less scared of them, and they say, wow, they're more like me than they're not like me.
Yes, absolutely.
What are your plans for Refuge Coffee Company for the future?
I wish we could do the ordering online so you could buy from New York, and you're an attorney, so you understand UBI, unrelated business income. For some reason, whole bean coffee is UBI for us right now, and we can't sell it. At the end of the day, whatever we can do to employ more people is what we want to do, but we want to do it well. The next thing that really on our radar is to build out a commercial kitchen here. So we have brick and mortar-ish is what we have, but we want to have a commercial kitchen, and what we could do with a commercial kitchen in this community, there are limitless possibilities. So that's kind of our next step. We have a couple of other options to possibly be open in other areas. People talk to us about franchising. I'm not so sure I want to get into that, but the idea that others could use this model in other refugee hubs around the country, I'm open to looking into that.
And tell me what your American dreams are for the future.
Martin Luther King Jr. said that he believed unconditional love and justice, but some word that means not coerced justice, but real justice could win the day. That's what I hope for.
How do I find your truck? Where are we located?
The best way is our website. It's so easy. It's refuge.coffee. You can find us like that. The shop is easy to find. Look on Yelp, look on anything, just for Refuge Coffee, and you can find us in Atlanta. On social media, we're Refuge Coffee Co, C-O, so Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Our goal is to be easy to find.
All right, good.
And the
Sounds it.
best place to just show up is here in Clarkston. And then we can direct you to some of the great restaurants if you wanted to go out to dinner or,
Yeah. What's your best specialty drink if I come by?
My favorite is a cortado, which is just kind of a really intense version of a cappuccino.
Okay.
That's my favorite. But I think our customer favorite is probably vanilla latte, don't you think?
Latte?
Yeah.
It's an amazing idea. It sounds like you're doing a really wonderful job, and I loved hearing about it. Kitty Murray and Sumaya Mascudi, thank you very much for joining us today. Good luck on the continued success. Sumaya, good luck on your continued success in college and university, and maybe we'll see you in the courtroom one day. You never know.
Great. Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
coming on.